Welcome to the Raw and Wild Hearts, a place where the raw, the unfiltered, the wild hearts gather to celebrate triumphs and hardships, learn from each other, grow together, and break down a culture rooted in fear. We will talk, we will laugh, and we will lean on each other about everyday life experiences that we could all use a little support through, and then we'll bask in the wild, magical beings that we are. My philosophy is that by embracing the dark, we may just let in the light. I am your host, Lori Rising, healer, educator, writer, adventurer, retreat leader, birth defender, and animal enthusiast and activist, along with my wild heart sidekick Kitty, Jesus the Brave. We'd like to invite you to get excited about the Wild Heart Revolution. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Raw and Wild Hearts podcast. I am your host and guide, Lori Rising, and welcome to today's episode. March astrology is about to pop off. Ooh, you all, it's coming. Yes. And I am so excited to get into it. But first of all, I just want to welcome anybody new who is just coming on board to this Wild Heart Revolution in this podcast, in my community, and in my shares. We're so excited you found us. And as we're going to get into today with the March astrology, the collective, the connection, it all matters. And the root of it matters. The full frequency of how we connect, where we connect, and who we give our time, belief, and attention to is coming under our truth meter, y'all, which is ourselves, our intuition, and our hearts. Yeah, it's all about that love, baby. So honestly, be ready to make big pivots and surprising shifts as more is revealed from you. So no matter how or when you have arrived here in this space, feel it out. Does it get you excited? Does it perk your cells up? Remind your soul of the life force knowledge and good feelings we came here to live from and in. Yeah, that really is the full transparency and authenticity of how I came here to support and the innate medicine that I came here to share that continues to be revealed through my personal acceleration that is large part because of you in this community. So thank you. And if you'd like to know more about me and my programs and offerings, head on over to my hub at therawandwildhearts.com. I've got all kinds of goodies for you, including astrology and Akashic Records readings. These are amazing. So if you would like more personal guidance into the energetic potentials and the cosmic gifts that are specifically here for you, let's dive in together. And since we're going to be talking a little bit today about the March astrology, which is huge. It's big. I just wanted to let you know that my membership community is so beautiful. If you are looking to connect with a very strong, vibrant community of people that are committed to doing the intentional work and the alignment practices together in our age of Aquarius, higher collective consciousness, come on over. It's 2 live calls a month with replays available immediately. Y'all, I keep it so affordable. Each call is literally $12.50. When traditional talk therapy, which is very linear mind focused, is well over $100 an hour. And then you get bonuses. Like next month, we're going to have a bonus March astrology workshop all about Saturn and Pisces and what area or environment of your life they really want you to look at. They really want you to work with as they transit through your natal astrology chart houses. So the information for everything is in the show notes below or found on my website. And I've also got freebies. I've got amazing guided meditations. Pisces season is great to develop a very strong meditative practice, because that is how you absolutely accelerate with the highest frequency of the Pisces energies. And I'd love to see you over at my YouTube channel. When I hit 1K subscribers, y'all, I'm giving away a 90-minute reading with me, which is worth $200. So help us get there even quicker, and stay tuned because that reading might just be for you. And of course, I'm active over on Instagram and the Instagram stories, though coming up here in March, I think that may be changing on a collective level. Let's get to it. So in March, there are 3, I'll call them events, that I would like to chat about to start to drop into. And the first is actually Mars leaving its retrograde shadow on March 15th. And what that means is that Mars is getting back to the degree it was at when it went into retrograde, which is when it slowed way down. Planets don't actually move backwards, but they seem or look like they're moving backwards because of how slow and deliberate they become with their dominant energies. So even though Mars is moving forward, which really from the time that it stationed direct until it leaves its shadow period means that the tension is lifting, right? The tension of that retrograde squeeze and the excavation that's really being asked of us when we go into those deep shadow periods, which is really the largest and most important component of being a human. It's growing through the contrast, the duality, through the emotionality, the vulnerability, the adversity. Our emotions are our biggest and deepest guide in this life, not our control or our thought or our fear, which is how many of us have been conditioned and programmed to live in this culture. And subsequently, why many people live in pain and dysfunction and dis-ease and mental anguish, quite honestly. So in this new earth awakening, in this remembrance that we came in with every ability to thrive, and our physicality and bodies are actually the conduit to that, which means that the gas for that process and opening becomes our reverence for the body, for the love, for the innate knowledge and knowingness. We begin to experience the natural high that comes from the transformations of our triggers and wounds and karmas instead of the suppression or denial or repression of them. And the planets are the most beautiful co-creative energy that we have. And we've known this throughout history. We used to live by the stars, and the more industrialized and artificial we get, harmony, ease, and guidance that we hear. But let it be known that we are getting all kinds of support from solar flares, light codes, downloads from the sun, which is absolutely how we supercharge our bodies. We connect through light in consciousness. So what's really important to remember is that everything is consciousness. The more that I'm going to quote this, scientifically know that everything is energy. Every object is energy. Everything around us is energy. Everything is life force or consciousness, and it just takes different forms. That's what's really going to evolutionize or revolutionize humanity. We're just the physical form. And when we've been living in this place of disconnect from the rest of consciousness, it has limited us unbelievably. Because y'all, we are so dang powerful. When you start working with light, you are going to be amazed at how easeful life comes from you. Healing comes from you. Your relationships elevate and evolve without the need to control them. It's so much fun, y'all. And light is absolutely our new currency, which is why I am now touring with my new workshop, New Earth Light Work. So watch out for a workshop coming to you very, very soon. Okay, yeah. So I definitely went on a whole new Earth tangent there. Let's get back to Mars leaving its shadow period on March 15th. And the exciting part of this is what I've been channeling is that this is when the inspired action happens. The aligned action happens and it feels effortless. Y'all, when we feel a struggle with something, it's because we're working against the flow, or I like to call it the higher consciousness unfolding. Because when we believe that we have to force things to happen and we equate that to our construct of time, y'all, we go wild and especially drop into full on scarcity or lack mentality. And honestly, we waste a whole lot of time, so much effort, and we just bring more tension or stress, which is the gateway to trauma in areas of our life in. So this is where astrology is such a beautiful gift. And astrology, wow, it is absolutely expanding and growing from our acceleration, from our evolution. As our consciousness evolves and our DNA and cells upgrade, the universe around us evolves and upgrades as well. We are only going to continue to uncover new phenomena, new celestial bodies, more non-physical life and star connections and frequencies. I mean, y'all, when I channel, it's all frequency and it's all messages, downloads, knowledge that was already sent in with these bodies. It's like I see our journey of life as this map to discovery or like almost this treasure map that we find and remember what came in with us that has been hidden in really drastic ways from our physical world and the collective narrative around us, because that's just how freaking powerful we are as humans. And the matrix part are the constructs that have been formed and believed in around us so that we come in actually thinking or feeling that life is just about working, paying bills, and struggling, and then leaving. And the planetary power and support that's coming in to keep dismantling that BS is popping off this month in March. So even if you're coming back and listening to this episode at some point in the future, look back to March of 2023 and notice what went down around you, in you, and from you. Okay, so Mars going direct. This is really taking us forward in our new soul's language. So the Mars retrograde gave us this divine opportunity to excavate and deeply review how we communicate, how we think, where inspiration comes from, the way we react in our interactions, right? Mars is all about action. It's also about sexuality. So this could even take you into deeper realms of the types of communication and body messages that you share in intimate experiences. And I especially love the new inspirations that are coming from your soul's language, not your learned language. That's what I feel like was really presented during this time. How does it feel to honor your soul's language and the innate knowledge and truth of how you came here to be, express, communicate, inspire, and move forward, compared to, or as opposed to, the way that you learned or were conditioned to do all of those things from the imprints in your cells, the familial pressure, the friends, and even the normalization of sacrificial living. That's a big one. So feel into that, because I just keep feeling like after March 15th is when we're going to be like hot wheels turning in the aligned action where it just flows out of us and we easily take the steps. We easily have the knowledge and the answers of where to go next, and door after door after door opens from every angle. And y'all, I can feel this happening now, just in the last maybe 2 days since the Saturn Cazimi, which is the conjunction of Saturn in the heart of the sun in Aquarius. Yeah, we're going to be getting to Aquarius real soon. But it felt like there was this intensity on what broke through on that day. And now we're getting the goods of why it came through that way. I mean, it was that night that I offered for the first time this shorter version of my New Earth Lightwork workshop in person with a group of sacred souls that knew nothing about me, no reference whatsoever. They had never even listened to my podcast. So that was a really interesting energy to sit in for me, especially with the illumination of light on those Aquarian energies and foundations and realities of how we bring them and how we show up for them. So I showed up in a whole new way to this circle, and we all felt something that has never come before in any of my containers. And we all have had a really interesting unfolding sense with lots of deep, deep messages and big breakthroughs. So I know that Saturn Cazimi has already set us up for what's about to be birthed in Saturn and Pluto, y'all. So let's get to Saturn and Pluto. First up, Saturn in Pisces. Saturn is entering Pisces on March 8th, and it will stay in Pisces until June of 2025. And Saturn is the physical reality. It's what you came here to master in this physical human life, this 3D matrix, right? And it wants to remind you of how far you've come while showing you the foundations and structures of how that might not be working, where the cracks are, and what needs to be shored up, what needs to be attended to and now built from the new you, the you that has been transformed, and the integration of your knowledge and consciousness in light with the physical being and beyond the input or influence of anyone else, deeply within your sovereign self, your soul's truth. And also, how is this energy going to affect the collective? Because this is a daily transit that is very different than our natal placements or aspects. But how will this overall transit affect each of us individually and affect the collective as a whole? And I mean, you can get down to how is it going to make aspects with anything that has been created or born. This could be your business. It could be a country. It could be your relationship, and so much more. And what I'm feeling with the Saturn and Pisces energy, because we are entering Pisces season as well, and Saturn is moving into Pisces after Uranus, Jupiter, and Neptune. So after you've went through big shifts, major changes in all of those areas of life, whether it's personally or collectively. So what I'm feeling is this Pisces energy of boundless consciousness or formlessness, or really the beauty in the unknown spaces, is what is going to continue to reveal in our physical reality. So what I'm actually seeing and channeling into for this is that we're going to continue to see what we haven't ever allowed ourselves to see before, or to see what we have held our vision back from, right? So it might be coming through your dream world. It might be coming through your conscious waking world. The veil is just going to continue to be thinner and thinner. And the deeper that you and me and we move into spaces of belief in what we have never experienced, the easier and quicker those experiences are going to come through for us to now integrate them into our physical reality and actually be in a place of normalizing them. For example, I see UFOs on the regular now, and that has to do with the continual opening of my cells, my channel, the release of any kind of fear frequency within my soul system being, body, and my non-reliance on someone telling me what's true and what's not true. You catch my drift here? Because what are you plugging into? What is your stream of consciousness? If you believe that something outside of you has to be the catalyst to the knowledge that you have, which is how the expert narrative has gained so much power, how our linear educational systems and how our imbalance in our culture and capitalism has really come to be. I mean, obviously, there's a lot more to unpack there, but really, if we just hone in on the hypnosis of the expert narrative and the reliance on history being what teaches us, and you feel it in your cells, you'll begin to awaken to how limiting and controlling that narrative and those systems really are. Okay, so Saturn in Pisces, what I'm feeling is we're going to be experiencing so much as our cells open in their truth meter and we reawaken and reactivate the light knowledge in our souls. Really, as our cells continue to transform from density to light, as we continue to do the shadow excavation, the trauma transformation, the core wound exploration on a daily, but actually on a momentary basis. So that light knowledge is going to be guiding us into more expansive experiences and beliefs. And it's also going to be the shoring up, which is what Saturn wants us to do in any energy or sign, of our spirituality, of what's true in the physical world and containers that offer places of resonance and amplification of our soul's growth into the God energy within us all, into co-creation with God, Source, Great Spirit. And this is where we're no longer going to be able to bypass or distract ourselves from the root of many of the structures and foundations that have been touting themselves in spirituality, faith, belief in God energy, but really have been causing mass destruction, trauma, pain, secrecy, lies, greed. Yeah, I'm feeling this big time. I'm feeling a major, just like foundational change, not only in how and who we support, because we're no longer going to be able to deny the truth of it in our body consciousness, but I'm feeling this rise up in confidence, in abundance, and in trust, right? Which means that we're actually dismantling and deprogramming the scarcity and lack that has kept us small and dim and only going so far in this life, like not going beyond the fears that have been programmed without our consent. And this is where we are going to see the rise of many new centers, many new religions, and that truly speak to the resonance of how their participants and members connect with God and Great Spirit. And they're going to come from a place of love and unity consciousness. I mean, y'all, I was just having this wonderful inspirational conversation with a 20-year-old that is in a dedicated program of acceleration in her church, right? In her religion. And I had this moment of, us coming to God from very different paths, just like there's all consciousness and we're physical. So there's different forms of consciousness. And we were speaking the same language. We were speaking the same energy and the same frequency. Just the physical experience of getting there was different. And I said to her, have you even ever let yourself believe that you could be creating a church? You could be creating a religion. You could be the leader of this movement that draws on the teachings of God, the Bible, the scripture in full unity consciousness, in expansion. Because y'all, when we keep doing the same patterns and bypassing the fractured energy of that system that is continuing to emanate, we're denying our own truth when we know it, when we feel it, and when we actually drop in to our full imagination and creation energy of boundless possibilities and new organizations coming from the higher consciousness of the collective, coming from pure crystalline love frequency, and humans that are dedicated to the deepest spaces of healing and betterment and evolution of humanity. This is how we change the world. This is how we actually end the horrific pain, destruction, and wounds that have been passed on and passed down from these old systems that continue to live on because we give our power to them. This is what I see happening with Saturn in Pisces and Pluto in Aquarius, which I'm going to get into in a minute. But just to finish up the Saturn in Pisces energy, it will go from 0 to 7 degrees over 2023. So if you know how to look at that in your astrological chart, go ahead and check out what houses and aspects it might be making with your natal chart so that you can just have a heads up of how to work with the potential energies when they're coming. And if you want more personalized support and guidance in that area of looking at your astrological chart, set up a personal reading with me and we will dive in, because this energy also is about shoring up the loose ends of your own spirituality and your connection to your infinite light, self-love, your intentional ritual, ceremony, and practice every day. Because y'all, soul growth isn't just an automatic. That's the gig, right? That's the job that we actually came here to do. Even though, like I said before, we've been convinced that our purpose here on earth is to struggle and effort and just survive. So yeah, you're going to feel the squeeze. We're all going to feel the squeeze the first year of Saturn in Pisces. That's really letting us know what's not working. It's really illuminating the cracks in the foundation. So it's a great time to listen, to drop in, and maybe not take big action yet, because the second year of Saturn in any energy and sign is the rebuilding of that foundation from the illumination that you've just went through, from the transformation that you're making while those loose ends and what's not working rises up and gets revealed in your experience. And always, always remember that we are limitless. The biggest limitations are the no's that we have in our minds. I've heard it a lot recently where it's like, oh no, I can't do that. Oh no, I don't do that. No, of course you don't, or you can't, because your belief is that powerful. And frankly, stop giving the culture, your family, your friends, the perceived interpretation of how to do something well any more power, because you get to do everything that you do in your life exactly how you do it. And you get to do it really well when you practice, when you believe, when you get intentional and get out of the time construct. And honestly, Pluto in Aquarius plays right beautifully, powerfully into this. So get ready to get your spirit socks knocked off, because this is going to be the biggest source of support in everything that I just shared, because y'all, Pluto means business. And I am going to leave a little cliffhanger right now and save Pluto in Aquarius for part 2. That's going to come in the next podcast episode, because Pluto enters Aquarius on March 23rd for its first pass over 0 degrees of Aquarius. And that's significant in itself. And then it'll come back into Capricorn for the rest of 2023 to be like, yeah, we're finishing this, y'all. It's time. And then it makes 3 more passes over 0 degrees of Aquarius into its final pass in 2025, where it will remain in Aquarius for the next 20 years. Yes, 20 years. It's been in Capricorn for 16. So that alone may just give you a bit of the significance of this next transit. So we will get all up into Pluto's grill in Aquarius next episode. Stay tuned. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, the notification bell. Let me know how these messages are resonating for you. Leave a comment. Give us a star rating and review on Apple Podcasts if that's where you're listening. Share this episode with a friend that you know is going to get wildly inspired and maybe build a new foundation in higher consciousness acceleration for the masses. Yes, we have to keep talking about this. We have to keep sharing and keep lifting each other up in the limitless possibilities and potentials of our creation energy. When we're in abundance and when we have smashed the confines of scarcity. So stay tuned. And until next time, y'all, don't forget to keep looking up. And with that, let's normalize the struggles, celebrate the quirks, and lean into the light. From myself and Beezus the Brave, happy Wild Heart Revolution, friends.